Hi, and welcome back to Tough Talk with myself, Faustina, and on C.Hub magazine. And my guest today is Rhoda Wilson, who is a Nollywood producer, a scriptwriter, a distributor, and also a consultant in the movie industry. And she's based in the UK. And today we are discussing about the influence of Nollywood as an industry in the mindset of Nigeria society. So, Rhoda, welcome to the show. And my first question to you would be, is known that the media, movies, and the media, have a lot of influence. They play a lot of influence in shaping the mindset of the society. Do you think Nollywood is playing this role positively so far in Nigeria?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Nollywood is playing a fantastic role in shaping the mindset of Nigerians and also, I'll say, Africa at large. Before I touch on the mindset of Nollywood, let me just go back to for some of your listeners that may not be aware of how Nollywood started. Nollywood actually started back in 1992 through where they did a movie called Living with Bondage, and that is how Nollywood actually was born. Subsequently, Nollywood now produces around 2,000 productions a year compared to Bollywood that produces 3,000 productions a year. This is based on figures that I recently saw for Nollywood productions in Nigeria. And Nollywood, as a result of that, Nollywood now goes around Africa. Nollywood is being watched all over Africa, all over Europe, all over America, all over Canada. So therefore, Nollywood itself is creating a positive change in people's lives. When Nollywood started, or before Nollywood started, if I may say, and if I'm speaking fast, let me know because I'm so passionate about this. I do talk fast. When Nollywood, or before Nollywood started, many of the Africans, and many of us as well, we in the diaspora, always look onto American films and videos or productions as a way of benchmarking our lives, saying that, oh, you have to be of certain colors, of certain colors, of certain category or criteria to meet certain lives demands in the world. But when Nollywood came, that changed. It changed all over Africa. It changed all over Europe. And now it's even changing also in America. Nollywood is changing the way people see themselves, especially Black people, Africans on the continent. Because now many of the Africans, and when I say African, like Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, and so on, they can now recognize stories. They can identify with some of the stories that Nollywood is putting out there because it relates to some of the things that they're going through personally. So not only is Nollywood changing the mindset of Nigeria to let them know that, our stories are beautiful. We've got amazing story. Our culture is so rich. It's so rich. I can't even explain. It's exploding at the moment because it's got a wealth of information. It's got a wealth of tales that we can share, which many of the other African countries recognize. This is why Nollywood is not only changing African and Nigerian mindsets, but it's also changing the Africans on the continent mindset, and also the way other people in Europe and in America and in Canada also see us as Africans.
Now, okay, talk about how the Nollywood is shaping the mindset and the culture and the tales that are being told. There's been a lot of criticism around the the storylines of Nollywood, which has been on and on. Yes, it's been there since 1992. That's 26 years now, and when somebody, let's say a human who is 26 years old, would be expected by now would have finished primary, secondary, and university even. And now, are we seeing any growth in the quality of production of Nollywood in terms of the script, the storylines?
Okay, now you must understand that Nollywood is fairly young. And I think some of the mistakes, I'm not saying because it's young, it doesn't mean that, they shouldn't get things right. Nollywood is still fairly young compared to the likes of, when we compare storyline, compared to the likes of Hollywood, and when we compare Bollywood as well. Nollywood is what Bollywood was like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I remember growing up in Nigeria, where all I watched was Indian movie. I know they had the Vadavaha and so on and so forth. So Nollywood is still fairly young. And we are changing, we are growing. I mean, scripts are being better at being written. You have the likes of Wedding Party, you have the likes of Oka for Laws, and you have the likes of also Jennifer's Diary. So people are, things are changing. I mean, as I say, we are still fairly young. I mean, at 10, 15 years from today, things are going to be a lot better than they are today.
Yeah. It's good that Nollywood is growing, and both in terms of number of production, which is good, But the question still remains on the, what makes an industry grow? Is it the number of productions, or is it the impact those productions are making? What I'm trying to say, I'm still on the script and storyline thing, where you see often and on, where Nollywood keep on painting the story of, let's say, for example, kidnapping happens or ritual or something. They just reenact what has already happened. And do you think it's really positively changing the negative aspect of the society of Nigeria in particular and Africa in general? How is it exposing the minds of people to begin to understand history, to begin to understand the impacts of, let's say, slavery, technology, so that challenging the mind of the people to think beyond mud house and those stereotypes?
Okay, you have quite a few questions there, but if I remember, I'll try and answer them as I remember them. First of all, in terms of the script and in terms of what is written, as Africans, especially as Nigerian, I speak to about based on my own experience and Nigerians that I know, we are quite good at repetitive. We're quite good at telling long storylines rather than just going straight to the point. So some of the script you see in Nollywood that you might feel, okay, the quality of the script is not as good as it should be, is because it's based on the way we also talk and the way we see our culture. So that is partly it. And also, talking of the number of production, whether that is good enough, why do we have 2,000 production where we could have one and make an impact? How can you make an impact if there's no money to make that impact? The only way you can make that impact is to just keep producing. Most of the people that produce, I'm not saying, I'll probably say most of them hasn't gone to film school. They just pick up a camera and feel that they can produce and go ahead and produce, because that is the only way they feel that they can learn on the job rather than go to film school. And also that opportunity is not there in Nigeria as it is in England. Maybe that is something people should be looking at in Nigeria, to be creating more film schools to help would-be writers, would-be producers, would-be directors to concentrate their effort on what needs to be concentrated on and demonstrate their skills in their craft. So maybe that is something people should be looking at in Nigeria. I mean, I know for my part, I'm doing workshop in England, and also in England for Nollywood, which I'm doing for, is that they have other opportunities. You could go to various film schools. There's so many avenues that you can use to perfect your craft in England. Producing a number of productions every year is not a bad thing, because by so doing, Nollywood is now known. If we wait for one person to get one production right, we will never get where we are today. By having so many production, what we're now doing is that we're now separating the chaff from the wheat. So therefore, going forward, you now start seeing quality scriptwriters, quality productions, because there has been so many that now there's that opportunity to take a step forward and take a step up, I hope.
In terms of being a consultant in the industry yourself, and I will term you as one of the veterans of Nollywood, especially in the UK. You are building the concept in the UK, the Nollywood branch in UK. Now, since you are one of the people in the forefront, the pioneers of Nollywood in UK, what are the things that you think that haven't gone very well in the Nigeria sector that you can now, as young as it is in UK, begin to correct?
Wow, you shouldn't underestimate Nigerians. I mean, the production in Nigeria nowadays, it's I tell you, even Hollywood is really, really sitting up and looking at it. Recently, Mo Abdul signed a contract with Sony to produce a number of productions for Sony. Nigeria is not really bad. That is because Mo Abdul, for people who don't know Mo Abdul, she did a TV show called Moment with Mo. She's managed to build a brand. She's managed to acquire monies and funds and acquire good contacts to help her to differentiate herself. So she's beginning to do so. That's what I really like to do as well. You know, get the monies behind me, start, you know, shaping the industry in the UK the way it should be shaped in terms of education. And I'm talking to one of the biggest creative industry at the moment to see how we can create a kind of educational platform for Nollywood as well. So therefore, whatever we do in Nollywood, it will be recognized. Unfortunately, I can't say the details out because it was only put forward to me a couple of months ago. And by the end of this year, I should be able to hopefully share more with you.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go back again to the growth of Nollywood. You know, at that time you said Nollywood is grown and is now second to Hollywood. You know,
Bollywood, yeah.
Second to Bollywood, that's the third. That means third largest. Is that what you mean?
No, when it comes to number of production, Bollywood is number one, Nollywood is number two, and Hollywood is number three. When it comes to monies, commercialism, because of the big budget they have, Hollywood is number one, Bollywood is number two, and Nollywood is number three.
Yes, and that brings me to the exact thing I wanted to ask you. My point comes back to funding and budgeting and quality. Now, you know, because if you assess the number of production with growth, if you assess growth with number of production without looking at the other things, now when you look at it overall, you will everybody who pays attention will know that Nollywood is still in the lead of movie industry, regardless of number of production, which makes them stand out. Don't you think that it undermines the role that Nollywood wants to play by people rushing out productions every now and then just to have numbers? You know, is it not better to have one or two productions and producers coming together, pulling resources together to produce quality production that will be watched and have a huge impact in the society? Look at, for example, the recent one, the what's it called, the Black Panther movie, and since this year, I don't think I've seen any other what's it called now, premiere in the terms of Hollywood movies and stuff. So don't you think that for Nollywood to really grow, as in when I mean growth, I mean in terms of bringing in the money, bringing in the impact that it needs to bring, they need to take time to make production, pull resources together, and have a production that can last a lifetime and people can watch it and learn.
Okay, let me go back. Black Panther, for a start, that is an exceptional. And Black Panther, the monies that went behind it obviously came from Marvel Studios. So Black Panther is a different thing. The only thing Black Panther has done for Africa and for the Black community is to say that
I'm not talking of Africa. I'm not making comparison in terms of Africa. I'm rating Black Panther, and I use this as an example. I'm rating it in terms of America and Hollywood. Now, when you come into Nollywood...
But that's not the producers. All the producers didn't come into Hollywood to make Black Panther. Black Panther was made by Marvel Studios, and they own the rights of Black Panther. And Black Panther came because when they did Captain America and they did other... Black Panther is just a character. So and also I think it's unfair for many people to be comparing Nollywood with Hollywood and storylines with Hollywood, because Hollywood has the monies. Most people, I've been fundraising myself, and you know what it's like.
I don't think you're getting the point. The point is this now. Yes, everybody agree that we don't have the funding, and you now as a consultant in the industry and one of the leaders in the industry. So don't you think that these are the things that you need to look into? is there not any association, which I'm sure there is an association of Nollywood producers? How do you assess and how do you approve of people producing movies? Does anybody just
you can't. It's so wrong for you to say that. Is there anybody that approves? There's actually, before I forget, I belong to the UK Nollywood Producers Guild. I am a member of the UK Nollywood Producers Guild. But it would be so wrong for you to say that, oh, I don't want you to produce because your quality is not good. In England, who tells you that? There's no way nobody in England tells you, oh, do you think there's the BFI will say you don't produce because your movie is going to be bad, or BBFC will tell you don't produce because your movie will be bad? Nobody will tell you that. Why would they tell you that? Creativity, it's what it is. It's creativity. I do support the fact that quality is very important, and the quality that we're producing needs to be better, and we are getting better at it, because obviously we need the technical people behind that to help us to get the production to the quality that we want it to get to. And one of the things as well that I don't like is that when I speak to many Nigerians, the first thing they do is that they're always so negative about Nollywood. And yet when I go to Cannes, and I go to Toronto, and I go to Dubai, and I travel the world, when I go to these places and I talk about Nollywood, they are so excited. They are actually quite jealous that Nollywood has got such a growth, such phenomenon, such ability to make money and to do so well. So for me, I don't understand when Nigerians, when you talk to them about Nollywood, they don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that. It's so negative. This is why, in all fairness, with people like that, I don't listen to them. Not that I don't listen to them because I think, oh, I'm better than them. I don't listen to them because most of them do not understand the industry. And most of them have actually never been to support Nollywood. We need money. We need money to produce better quality. Give us the money. Let us do that. And yet you don't have people that comes out to support people. If I fundraise today, I bet you, okay, maybe because it's me, people might support me. But other people, they won't support them. And you know this as well.
We are talking about Nollywood now as an industry, not a personal issue or an industry.
It is. You can't take out the personality from the Nollywood because most people.
Let me come down with my question now. When you look at an industry, for example, now when you look at African media, African media faces the same problem with funding, and then you cannot, because you don't have funding, and not try to improve from where you are and bring better quality. So like, for example, when you compare some of the TV stations run by Africans or for Africans, you will know which ones are which and which ones are not doing very well. So what I'm trying to find out from you as a member of Nollywood, an industry. Now, we've talked about budgeting, and we've talked about the budget, the funding, and the quality. Now, don't you think there are certain things, regardless of the challenges, which every industry has a challenge, regardless of whatever challenge, don't you think that Nollywood has reached a point after 26 years when they have to start thinking of how to, become more relevant than just being entertainment?
But Nollywood is relevant. Nollywood is relevant. Nollywood is creating employment. Nollywood is from employment is creating wealth. And from wealth, as you know, these things, they all trickle. Once you have wealth, it goes around to other people and other people benefit from it. And also it grows industry as well. You have more makeup artists, you have more camera crew, you have more journalists, you have more bloggers, you have more, you have a lot of creativity creativity jobs that grows as a result of Nollywood. So Nollywood is relevant. It is relevant. I do agree that the quality needs to be better, and we are working at it. And we're working at it because we need more technical people that knows what they're doing to come and support the industry. As our storylines are in terms of our culture and telling our culture, it is beautiful. It's just a case of executing that needs to be a slightly fine-tuned. And as I say to people when they say to me, oh, that your movies are not like Hollywood movies, and I'm thinking, we don't have Hollywood budget. Not at all. I mean, the average Nollywood.
I don't think there's any particular industry on its own that has a collective budget. It's a matter of is a matter of your how you do your PR, your branding, your marketing that will attract the investors who will invest. Does Nollywood producers, do they understand the need to treat their craft as a business and run it as a business rather than seeking for support? If we understand
But
support,
you can't,
excuse me, sorry, support in quote. I want to use support in quote because when you say support, it removes the business of what you're doing. Now, what I'm trying to say is, are Nollywood producers learning to run their craft as a business, having in
oh
mind
yes.
that you have a responsibility to position yourself and your brand or your business to be able to attract people who will invest in the business, looking forward to having a return from their
Of
investment.
the investment, yeah. Um, for me, I can only speak for myself, and I can speak for one or two other producers in the industry. Yes, we look at production as a business. I've invested money in my own productions. As a result of that, I've managed to sell it and sell it now to a new distributor in the US who's going to put it on a bigger platform. So for me, I see it as as a business because I need to get back my return on investment. So one of the things I always say to people when they come to me and they say, look, Rhoda, we want to invest in Nollywood. What is the return of investment? And I say to them, for me, based on my own experience, I think investing 100,000 is an amount, or anything up to 100,000 is an amount that you can get back with a good return on investment, and you can get it back maybe within 18 months to 24 months, depending on how you structure the deal. So I would say that for me, and I speak for maybe one or two other people, that we still see it as a business. But one of the things I always say to people when I talk to them and they ask me for advice, I say, if you're going into production, you must ask yourself, why are you going into production? Are you going because you want to create something different? Are you going because of your ego? Are you going because you want to make money? Or are you going to because you want to prove a point? And you find that many people actually don't go in because they want to make money. People go in because of their ego. They want to be able to walk down to say to people, I am a producer. But there's nothing wrong at all in any path the people decide. There's nothing wrong at all in the path anybody decide to go down. It's up to them. For me, though, mine is about business. I obviously have to make back my return of investment. I have investors that have invested in me. I need to pay them back in 18 to 24 months. So for me, I can't be sitting there walking down red carpet, going, being idle without thinking of ways of getting the return of investment back for my investors. So I'll probably say yes. A number of us do consider production as a business.
Okay, don't you think? I'm going back to storyline. Don't you think that the storylines, from Nollywood movies have really had some degenerating effect on the way Nigerians, see religion, see use superstition, instead of coming out of that mindset of superstition, believing in rituals, believing in making money through rituals, believing in God will do it. How is Nollywood bringing Nigerians out of that mindset? Give me one movie, that you think has gone beyond that.
Oh, there's a lot of movies that have come beyond that. I mean, again, I'll go back to the likes of Wedding Party. There's 93 Days. There's CEO. There's Wives on Strike that came out this year. Last year, we had where I saw CEO 3 times, 93 Days, Wedding Party, Wives on Strike. What's the other one? Ahsoka. There's so many African movies are now moving away from that mindset of voodooism, superstitious and so on. I'm trying to tell stories based on modern day's life. So we are changing. Rome was not built in a day. You know that. These things will take time, and I hope I see it in my time. And I hope by the second generation or the third generation of Nollywood in the UK, things would have changed and people will be telling the stories based on the reality. But sadly, having said that, this is also part of our culture. You know, it's part of our culture.
When you say culture, when we beat about culture and tradition and all that, culture is man-made. We make culture. For example, this is not a comparison now, but I'm trying to use as an example. If you watch Bond movies, some of the gadgets and things that we use now, they propounded. They're more futuristic. That is what movies are supposed to be. They're supposed to open people's mind of possibilities, rather than doing things that everyday things that people are already used to. The movie industry is supposed to create a new culture of, for example, now we're in a time of technology where technology is fast moving.
Fantastic, yeah.
Exactly. So the world is moving very quickly. So don't you think that it's time for Nollywood to start waking up to that reality and becoming more futuristic than just doing reality?
This costs money. This costs money, and we need investors. We need investors. I have spoken to a number of people, and one of the things we're also trying to get the tax people to do, and also trying to, when I do talks as well, and I speak to high net worth people, I tell them that if you can invest in low risk business, because the media is actually, sorry, tell a lie, the media is actually a high risk business generally. So when I tell investors that when you invest in such business, there are many tax incentives you can have to write off your investment. So you can write off up to 100,000 as long as you're a UK registered entity. You can register under EIS or seed.
No, you're talking now in terms of Nigeria, because the Nollywood UK is still a baby, so we can't really focus on it's still growing. So I'm talking of the general Nollywood in Nigeria, particularly. And when you look at the society of Nigeria 5 years ago and now, the effect, don't you think that Nollywood, as big as it's become in terms of production, is not really penetrating and changing things as it should, as in waking people up to the...
But Nigeria is more than 80 million population. Nollywood is 26 years old or so. So it's still good. If it's made this change, if it's made 1% change in the last 5 years, that is kind of significant. And in the next 5 years, the likes
you're talking about, is it positive or negative?
For me, I only know based on my own circle of people that I know. I think it's quite positive, because it's positive because they see also it comes from the Afrobeat industry as well, how the Afrobeat has grown, and the likes of P Square, Davido, how they're making money and they're doing very well. So people realize that actually there is wealth in entertainment, and this is a good way to
when I talk of when I'm talking of growth and impact, I'm not necessarily talking about money, making money. It's good to make money, but what I'm saying is how it's changing the mindset, the culture of the people. Now, Afrobeat, yes, Afrobeat has really done tremendously in changing how African Nigerian music is being played, and even the content, the production, the concept. You can see it can compete anywhere. That is where I'm trying to get to. And you can see how they're attracting the investment in that area. Now, that is where I'm going with Nollywood. Do you think many people in the industry understand the concept of running their movie business or movie making business as a business as it should? Do you think, no, forget about yourself or people in your circle. I want you to broaden your mind and be more critical or more, you know a thing of defending or...
It would be wrong for me to be massively critical, because most of the time when you talk about Nigeria and what is happening with the mindset in Nigeria, I can only talk based on my experience and having spoken to a few people. Nigeria and the number of productions and the people in the producers industry, there's actually there's actually a Nigerian Nollywood Producers Guild. So I mean, perhaps maybe talking to somebody that will be able to maybe speak to you more. But the only thing I can say based on my own experience, because I can't speak for them because I only talk from an outside point of view, based on my own experience, I'll probably say is no, they don't. You know, people don't see production as a business. They just think that, okay, they want to be doing something, let them start producing. At least when they produce and put it on Facebook, on YouTube, it means they've done something, and that's it. And so this is, I personally don't think they see it as business, because when I've spoken to a number of them, it's a case of, oh, Rhoda, as long as we've done it and it's on YouTube, that is all that matters. Rather than say, oh, look, Rhoda, if I do it, I'll make this money. I can then go on to produce another movie. From there, I can make enough profit to look after my family, and so on and so forth. So it's the mindset of Nigeria. It still needs to, it has to be reconditioned, and I don't think Nollywood is the only form that can get it to be either reconditioned. It's a case of getting people to know that there are challenges everywhere, and they need to look at it from a business way rather than just putting things on YouTube. That's how I'll see it anyway. I don't know if that answers the question.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get to, because yes, it's not only Nollywood that is going to change the mindset of people, but mind you that Nollywood movies, you know, a particular movie in Nigeria is watched over millions of times, you know, and don't underestimate what people see, don't underestimate what people hear. So
I totally agree. Media is so powerful. Media is so powerful, it's unbelievable. So you are right in a way, because now I just remember a couple of things that I read about media, and I know media is powerful. It can change the mind, it can change the way people see you. So this is why I guess this is up to Nollywood Producers Guild in Nigeria to start looking at the way things are, and to get their members, because they've got a lot of members. Maybe it's for them to get their members to produce more quality products, production, and gradually, I suppose, penetrates the industry and start making some changes that needs to be made, and changing the mindset that needs to be made. So you are right. You know, media is a very, very powerful tools that can affect people. But having said that, there are other things as well that needs to be done to change the mindsets of Nigerians.
Exactly. So, like what I was saying, you know, like that you agreed with me, is that, you know, media is very powerful, including us who are, like, for example, now we run C.Hub magazine here. We are very careful what we put out. Already, there are so many negative things out there. Why do I want to put out another negative story about any Black person or Africa? There are so many of them already. So our aim, you know, as a magazine, is to highlight the positive things of Africa, because you don't need to work so hard to find any negative story on Africa. So from that point of view is where I'm looking at this, you know, and I'm talking to you as a professional in the industry. Yes, it's not only you who's going to make the change, but it starts from one point. In the Hollywood industry, and professional as I know it, is that every industry have critics. If a movie comes out, there are people within the industry who are going to criticize the movie, and openly, without reserve, you know, so that people are more careful putting their name on anything, you know, even as an actor or a producer or even whatever, you know, you want to be sure that where your name is, and your name as in the industry, in the movie industry, is your brand. So people now begin to be more careful where their name is associated with. So you, as a person, as a consultant, and as a producer yourself, don't you think that these are steps that needs to be made within the industry, even if it's from your own corner?
I must say I'm very careful as to who I work with. I'm very, very protective of my brand. Just like you rightly pointed out, you don't want to be churning out negative things and churning out things that would, indirectly affect people. So I guess for me as a producer, I would always say that I do my bit on my side to put out things positive. My productions, try to be as positive as possible. But at the same time, I'm in the industry to make money. What sells commercially is what I put out. And going back to some of the things you've said now is that it just reminded me of some of the marketers that I've spoken to in Nigeria. Those production sells. They sell. Some of them sells. Some of the marketers in Enugu, in all down the Enugu, Umaya, all those down the areas, Port Harcourt. Some of those productions sell. This is why they put it out, because they need to make money. So once on one hand, some of the other people look at production, putting it on YouTube, because they feel that if they do, they'll make money, without realizing that actually that's not the way of making money, because YouTube, as you know, they only pay you 0.01 cent.
They pay you anything.
That is it, you see. So I mean, that is where they make the mistake, and also they feel that they'll be famous if they put that on YouTube. And then you have the other end of the spectrum as well, whereby they produce a lot because they know that there's a demand for it. And so it's really a difficult question to answer. I know for my part, and for some of the producers that I know that I work with, we are always trying to I suppose produce the right and quality production out there, a production that would help people see Black people for us in a positive light, that would tell our stories the way we should tell the stories, and hopefully they'll come back for more when we have our next production. So that's all I can say, on that topic, really.
Okay. Do you think that the government, Nigerian government, do you think that they appreciate the role that the role that Nollywood could play?
Oh, definitely. They do appreciate it very, very much. They do. And I know that the Industry Bank of Chambers of Commerce, I can't remember the name, has funding for Nollywood, because Nollywood actually contributes, believe it or not, significantly to the GDP of Nigeria economy. So for Nigeria, Nollywood is quite significant. That I do know. Okay. I mean, for the world, obviously, but Nigeria as well.
So in your view, you believe that Nollywood is a good ambassador for Nigeria?
Oh, definitely. Nollywood is a very, very positive industry in Nigeria. Not only is it generating, for me, based on what I know, it's not only is it generating a good GDP for the economy, it's creating employment, and also it's making people dream dreams, the dreams might not be the way you and I want to see the dreams, because the dream might be scripted incorrectly. The dream might be not the way we want it to be, but they are still dreaming dreams. And gradually, as the years progresses, Nollywood will start having some major divide, whereby you have the A lists and then you have the other list as well that comes with it. So I am really, really positive about it. I cannot tell you, I'm really excited. I know that we have challenges at the moment. Nothing in life hasn't got a challenge. It's just a case of how do you deal with it. And we'll continue to recognize some of the critics. I mean, people criticize me. I take action. When people criticize me, people think, oh my God, they've criticized Rhoda. This is it. But I actually take it in a positive way, as long as it's a constructive criticism. Sometimes some of the criticism that comes out can be very personal. So therefore, they miss the mark of saying, okay, well, I don't like your movie because your movie did this. Rather than saying that, they'll say, oh, that I don't like you. The other day, you wore these things. What has that got to do with the movie? So it's important that all critics should be.
Don't you think that it's part of the whole industry, like the whole entertainment industry, where there are, as a producer or an actor, there are people in the other sector of media, like my kind of media, magazines and blogs and all that. Their job is to bash celebrities. That's how they make their own money. So as a celebrity, as a producer in that industry, you should be accustomed to it and not take those things personally.
No, you should be accustomed to it, but you're only human at the end of the day. We are human. So, sometimes people say things, you might take it and say, okay, fine, somebody's criticized you, it's okay. But it gets to a point, if it's constant, you just think, oh, I'm only human, just get on with it, So for me, I don't mind criticism as long as it's constructive. And I welcome it. It doesn't mean everybody should be flooding me with criticism, but I welcome it because that is the only way that we can grow as an industry. And as long as people take it on board and say, okay, somebody says, oh, whether your script could be better. I look at it, actually, that is true. My script could be better. Let us do this. Let us do that. Get the right people on board. And one of the things as well, as I said to you, is it's so important in Nigeria. I don't know if they're doing it at the moment. We need a lot of film schools. We need good film schools that in England, we've got so many. It's unbelievable. In America, they have as well. In India, they have as well. We need good, not just any trainers, because somebody told me the other day from England, no mentioning, they're going to Nigeria to do some training. I had to laugh because they've never done any production in their life, and they're going to train people in Nigeria production. So I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, well, we all have our own ways. We can't stop people from doing whatever they need to do. But we need some good schools, like you have the School of Identity here in England and now in LA. We need something similar in Nigeria. That's all I can say. So if anybody is watching out there in Nigeria, we can make this better. We can start making changes gradually by having schools, having workshops, having training, and so on and so forth, so that for other people can learn their craft and become better at what they do, and hopefully make good money as well. Because when you're good at what you do, you can make good money. You can really make good money. So that's what we want to get people to be doing.
Yes. Now, as much as Nollywood is growing in whatever terms that is seen, in the last 5 years now, there's been a kind of would I call it trend or happening where majority, well, quite a number of actors and members of the Nollywood industry, they fall sick, and you find them not able to take care of their health, and quite a number of them are dying from, even preventable causes. And some of them, when they end up having certain illnesses, you see them coming on social media and all that, asking for money. And sometimes it could be embarrassing for people who believe that Nollywood is actually growing. How do you react to that?
Okay, desperate times call for desperate needs. So perhaps these people are desperate because they have nowhere to turn. This is where I believe that it's not just Nollywood Guild of Nigeria that needs to look at this matter and support their actors and actresses, but also it's a wider issue from the government as well. Here we have health benefits in England, whereby if you're sick, you can go to the doctors and they'll prescribe whatever it is or send you to the hospital. In America, they have health insurance. Maybe this is something, if not the Actors Guild, Nigeria has lots of good insurance companies. I know that. So therefore, I do not see the reason why the actors, the Producers Guild in Nigeria, or the Actors Guild in Nigeria, are not encouraging those insurance companies to engage with their members and try and put in place things like healthcare and other benefits that that is desperately needed if the government is not doing it. This is just by the by. Let me just quickly digress. Uber has recently signed up with AXA to provide insurance and health and paternity insurance for all their members. This is a business that values their members. So this is something that Nigerians can do because this is not there in Nigeria. So it's not just the Nollywood Actors or Producers Guild's a problem, but they can start by helping their members, but it's also the government problems. And I will encourage any members, whether you're Actors Guild or Producers Guild, or if you belong to other association, encourage your leaders within that organizations to reach out to insurance companies and see if they could offer better deals that could help you in an event of problems like this, health problems. Because in England we are blessed. I don't know how long for, but for now we have insurance, so we're okay. So we're covered.
In terms of the insurance thing, because that I have family in Nigeria as well. I have my sisters, my brothers, and all that. So, and I know that they have health insurance, especially from their work, where they pay a certain amount of money towards their health insurance, from their salary. Now, there was a time when there was a particular month, I think last year or so, we had about 3 people died in the industrial world, and there were some other
Wow.
people asking for, fund and GoFundMe, and I feel people are now abusing those outlets which are created for serious times. So, and people are asking for donations and stuff like that. So I wrote a piece, I wrote an article, suggesting ways that Nollywood as an industry should tackle it. Even if they make it a mandatory move for them to be having dues
I
paid
agree.
towards the health of their destiny. And I used to work with Havana Hospital in Lagos. We are bankers. Almost every bank, they sign up with the hospital directly,
Okay.
where their staff, when they are ill, they come straight there. They don't need to pay anything. The bank will take care of it. And the bank takes the money from their salary. So what I'm trying to say is the same mindset changing. How can a group of people change a mindset of a society when they haven't understood that they need to change their own mindset about their
I
health?
totally agree. I totally agree with you on that basis. I think, this is why you need competent leaders. You need leaders that are not only competent, but they're exposed. And I won't say educated leaders, because some educated leaders actually not, they might be educated in books, but they're not educated in the way things needs to work. So you need educated leaders. And I'm not putting anybody down in Nollywood, Nollywood in Nigeria. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to say that there are things that can be done. So I hope they watch this, and I hope that they would take some of the, not criticism, but some of the suggestions on board and start looking at their members. I don't know how many members they have, but I know from what people told me that it's quite significant members. Maybe this is where they should start. Applying the same thing like you said with the way the bankers work. Start applying, saying to their members, you must have insurance, and the members pay their dues, their subscriptions. So if they increase the subscription by 1,000 or 2,000 naira, that could go towards insurance. So, and we go funding, I don't like it, and I think it's, for me, this is why when it comes to production, I try not to use GoFunding, just of the way some of the Nigerian people have abused it, and people don't want to support it. But having said that, if people believe in your brand, I see no reason why they shouldn't support you.
Exactly. Okay. In conclusion, where do you wish to see Nollywood in the next 10 years?
Oh, I want Hollywood to be knocking on Nollywood's door, to be partnering with Nollywood. I want our production quality, obviously, to have grown. I want people to be having employment through Nollywood and living well. When I say well, live the way people in Hollywood live, because we deserve it. And I want our stories by then. I just want it to be like Hollywood knocking on Nollywood's door to say, look, we want to partner with you. We see how well you're doing. And I want it to be sooner rather than later. And in 10 years' time, we'll be saying, wow, we've propelled, and we are a force to be reckoned with, and having a good life. Nollywood, don't underestimate the underdogs, as they say. One day we could be top dogs, and we're not far away. So I'm really, really, really looking
Remember, we
forward.
can't get there if we don't look at the downs as well. If you only look up and you don't look the downs to smoothen the ride, you wouldn't get there.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. This is why, on top of that, I hope as well that we'll have competent leaders, we have visionaries, because we need those people that will take us to the next 10 years. And yeah, so we always keep on looking at what we need to improve on, and what we're good at, we do more of it. What we need to improve on, we improve on it, and just keep growing the industry and growing wealth for people and creating employment for people, especially the young generations, because 60% of Nigeria is actually, I believe somebody told me they were all under 30s or so, 60% of the population. That is, under 30s is a lot of people that needs to grow and that needs to have a good life. So therefore they go on to provide for their kids and their other kids as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Nollywood.
Thank you so much, Rhoda Wilson, producer, consultant, and distributor in the Nollywood industry. She's a force to be reckoned with. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks.